Good afternoon, David.
Afternoon, David.
I'll just put the chat up and get Facebook on. Anyway, how did things go with you today at the hospital?
Yeah, fine. I'm very impressed at the facility they've got. Westmark. You know, it's a it's a building entirely devoted to people that have lost their legs or their foot or whatever, right? And getting them back mobile again. It's fantastic. Really is.
Right, good. That's Facebook on board.
Good.
So things went well. Things are
Aye.
progressing okay.
Yeah. Looks like I'll get my leg next week, which is fantastic.
Brilliant. Really good.
But don't forget, I've got to learn to live with it. I've got to learn to work with it.
Yes. And as you've already been warned, it's going to be painful for the first wee while as the stump toughens up.
Forewarned is forearmed.
Right, Facebook's on board. I can see Neil McDonald's there. I can see Stephen Kelly.
Yeah.
We'll just get a few seconds for it to get over the 100 mark, and then we'll get the broadcast underway, David.
Okay.
Aye, well, we'll better say hello to a few people. Here we go. Leipzig.
Yep.
We've got the... Sounds very much like Leipzig, actually. But it's not.
It is. That's what I think that's what it's meant to be.
Well, you know, L-E-I-B, I think it's Leap.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got D-Doc.
Yeah.
We've got Francis McKenna, Margaret Brand,
Ginger giraffes.
Ginger Giraffes, Melanie,
Yeah.
Ur Wally's Bucket,
Yeah.
Ali Watson's on, Graham Knox, Diane Knox, Winnie Hughes. Right, that's enough for him mentioned. We're up at 100 mark. Anyway, sorry, audience, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us again. And I'll thank the moderators in advance, as I tend to forget to do that at the end.
Yeah, the poor people working in the back office tend not to get a mention, and it's really highly important that they do.
Yes, so thank you, moderators and madam directors, respectively. Right, as I say, we're up over 100 mark, David. Let's get this show underway.
Yeah.
I've only seen snippets of the leader debates because I don't watch television, as you know. Now, what was interesting was the snippets that I've seen of the Scottish leaders debate. It was on STV on Monday. Anti-democratic event, by the way, but we'll skip that for the time being. As far as I could see from what I've seen of it, John Swinney wiped the flare with the buggers. But the press here in Scotland on Tuesday had Anna Sarwar as coming out on top.
Hang on, David. I've got a wee problem here. These things switched off.
No.
You should have done. There you go. Sorry, mate.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, according to the press, Anna Sarwar came out on top. Now, I don't know how things are done here in Scotland, but after the leaders' debate in England, there was snap poll after snap poll after snap poll. And it went on right through Tuesday. But I didn't see a snap poll here on the debate in Scotland.
David, it is all stage managed, right? We know that the mainstream media are going to enthrone Labour this time. That's who's got it this time, right? So therefore, they'll do all sorts of things like polls and silly, stupid things like Sarwar came out best in the leaders' debate. He didn't.
No, he certainly didn't, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But we Dougie Ross didn't cover himself in glory either, because what I've seen of him admits that he made a mistake encouraging the Scottish Government to follow Liz Truss's disastrous economic policies, which crashed the economy, as we know. We have 45 billion of unplanned tax cuts.
John Major asked him to give a public apology for that.
Did he?
Yeah. Aye. Yes.
Well, as I say, what was interesting about it was what he went on to try and explain was he actually thought that Liz Truss had done her due diligence on these tax cuts. I was pissed myself laughing.
That's just nonsense. And
Where
it
was
wouldn't have been Liz Truss. It would have been the Quango kid who did it.
Oh,
What was he? What was he
Quartang.
called again?
Quartang.
Yeah, that-
Kazakami.
Quasi Quartang. Yes, it would have been him that did due diligence.
He went on to be known as Kamikaze Quartang after he
Yeah,
crashed the bloody economy with Liz Truss.
yeah.
Oh, Ross trying to claim they'd done their due diligence was quite funny because they weren't in office long enough to do due diligence for anything. They were only in office for 43 days.
David, so funny hearing you saying that phrase, due diligence.
Due
Yes.
diligence. But aye, it's hilarious for Dross to be standing there claiming that he thought Liz Truss had done her due diligence. I guess
Yes.
Dougie Ross has never had to carry out a due diligence report. Where you actually look into all aspects of what it is you're about to move into before you move into it.
Yes.
But as I say, the interesting part for me wasn't the debates themselves, David. As you know, I think they're anti-democratic. I think they skew democracy.
Yes.
So the main thing for me, the interest for me, was the press coverage the following day. And I just thought, were the press watching the same bloody debates as the rest of us?
Well, no, it's the fact that the editors are forcing the journalists to write stories about how well Labour did. Yeah. And Labour are being crowned by the mainstream media.
You're absolutely
And that's
correct.
all.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we could say we've seen it in 2014.
Yeah.
But it's nuts. But we do get a lot of things going on here in Scotland where it doesn't meet the evidence of our eyes.
Yeah.
Like all this crap about the NHS. As you and I both know, David, getting an appointment's no problem. Getting scenes never
There's
been a problem.
no hold up at the A&E, right? As you have proved at the time that the news was telling us the huge queues at accident emergency, right? And a load of nonsense.
And there's another good news story on health, right enough, which we aren't going to get into, but there's Scottish dental practices are going to up the amount of NHS appointments they do by 12,000. As we already know, NHS dentistry is under strain everywhere, but here in Scotland it's not bad.
Yeah.
Right, so we've done the leaders debate thing. You and I don't agree with them. Knowing the formats they're being done in. We don't agree with the fact that not every party who's putting up candidates is getting representation.
Yeah.
Because
if you talk about Scottish leaders, it should be that any party that is going to potentially get one MP in the House of Commons should be given a place.
well, just anybody who's stoning, actually.
But that is democracy. If you're going to bring TV in as a tool for democracy, then it must be democratic.
Yes.
That's all.
And as we know, the presidential style debates we're getting between Starmer and Sunak give those two particular parties precedence.
Yeah.
And for the public sector broadcaster who's supposed to be neutral, that's a no-no.
Yeah, it's just poor. It is just poor.
Right.
It shouldn't be allowed.
Let's move on to the Michael Matheson saga. For those in England, sorry, this is the Scotland section. Now,
Hang him is the next one. Hang him, right? Or we'll go to the French and we'll borrow Madame la Guillotine and see if we can use that.
Only for visiting Westminster sometime soon. But anyway, Michael Matheson, the ex-cabinet minister, as you know, the guy with the iPad. The people in England might have heard about this guy. The guy who was stupid enough to hone his parliamentary iPad to his son to watch the Old Firm game without realising the Roman charges were on, and it cost him 11 grand.
Yeah, I know.
Now, apparently, some loon balls, or two loon balls, have reported Mr. Matheson to the police. And twice the police have had a look and went, oh, fuck off, Foggies. Now you become the pain in the ass. We've got a job to do. Since when did it become a criminal offence to on your nipper a device with a screen on it to quiet the bugger down?
It's just stupid. Honestly, it's just stupid.
Listen,
It's beyond,
if that's
no,
not a
it's
criminal
beyond stupid.
offence, if that's not a
Yeah.
criminal offence to hone a device with a screen on it out of your nipper to keep it quiet or to calm it down, then
Yeah.
half the parents in the UK should be in the pokey.
The mistake he made was he didn't fully understand what roaming charges meant.
Especially in the
That's it.
destination he was at.
Yeah.
Yep. But as I say, it's not a criminal offence to give something with a screen on it to your sprawl to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that was the case, every parent in the UK would be in the pokey.
Yeah.
You know.
So I tell you what, I tell you what, you show me a parent that doesn't do it, right? That we'll go with this thing and go, there you go, bright colours, all the rest of it, right? Yeah, they can even eat it these days and it doesn't do anything, you know what I mean? So
Use it as a teething ring while they're watching the Teletubbies or whatever it is these days.
Yeah.
You know. But no, I mean, this idea of reporting Mr. Matheson to the police because his son watched a bloody football game on his iPad. I mean, what was it these people were hoping to achieve?
And what was the desk sergeant doing, allowing these people inside a police station?
I mean, what was it that went in and reported them on? Was it was it for national security breaches or something? I don't think there's going to be much on a.
No. Yeah, I think he was health secretary for the SNP, right? And as far as I'm concerned, it's like there might be some top secret items there. I really don't know, but I don't think so. Yeah, it's crackers. Really, really crackers, David.
Yeah, somebody tells me the BBC have been profiling party leaders. But they haven't bothered their arse with any SNP leader to profile.
Yeah.
No John Swinney. Well, being Westminster, you expect him to profile Stephen Flynn.
Yeah.
But apparently they did profile Farage. You know, he doesn't need profile. The BBC have got one that often they know him as a friend.
Yeah, no, Farage needs profiling in the same way as the FBI profile multi-murderers. What do they call it?
Mass murderers.
Yeah, mass murderers, that's it, yeah.
As I say, before we move on, because this one just needed mention, what it was they were hoping to achieve. What was it? What did they go make a complaint on? They breached national security or something? You know, because let's face it, UK security and borders is reserved. There's highly unlikely he's going to be anything that sensitive on his bloody iPad to start with.
Yeah, the thing is, you go into a police station and you go, I'd like to lodge a complaint, right? And the desk sergeant goes, right, what is it? What's the complaint over, right? And he takes down the complaint and the desk sergeant will say, right, okay. And what he'll do is he'll go to whomever and say there's been a complaint lodged on XYZ, right?
Aye.
And I've got to say, I just can't figure any reason why Michael Matheson will have been picked up on anything. You know, because that is worthy of a police complaint. I'm trying to say. Yeah.
See, I'm surprised the desk sergeant didn't tell him to sling his hook or her hook and say next time you on your rein a pad to keep it quiet while it's going off at the dinger, I'm coming around the house to arrest you. That's how silly it's getting here in Scotland. You know, we didn't know it was a Tory witch hunt.
Yeah.
But to actually ask the police to get involved, that's a mega fail. Wow. Anyway, talking about Tory failures, it would appear that wee Dougie Ross has backtracked on his promise to the Scottish people that he wouldn't run in this election because he was going to concentrate on Holyrood and defending the Union in the Scottish Parliament.
And refereeing football games.
Now, don't forget to referee all football games, yes. Sorry, running the line on football games. He's not a qualified referee, I don't think. Anyway,
I think he's a proper referee.
To be fair to Dougie, I think he was probably fishing for this seat because David Duguid put out a text and a post in social media to say that he'd been deselected by the Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party to run at the next election. Now, the Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party say they haven't selected him on health grounds, as David Duguid has been in the Southern General, stroke the QE Queen Elizabeth, a University Hospital in Glasgow, where he was transferred to there 6 weeks ago from Aberdeen with a serious spinal illness.
That's pretty awful.
Now, don't like Tories, detest them, detest everything they stand for, but I have no ill feeling towards Mr. Duguid and a personal level, and I hope his health improves. Anyway, Mr. Duguid had been selected by his local Conservative association as the candidate, and when they put it forward to the what they call the Scottish Tories selection panel, apparently they knocked it back based on his ill health. But basically, they knocked it back because wee Dougie Ross wants his second job. His wife's probably telling him we need the money. Our lifestyle's grown that much,
Yes. Yep.
So
exactly.
What's interesting is, guess who sits on that panel, the selection panel?
Go on then.
Dougie Ross. So
that's like marking your own bloody homework.
As I say, Dougie Ross, David Duguid puts out a post saying he's disappointed not to be selected. Next thing, Dougie Ross rocks up with a press conference saying he's changed his mind and he's going to stand. Where's he standing? In the constituency where David Duguid would have been standing. The new constituency.
The problem I've got with this week's programme, and I've got a problem with it, is the fact that we are reporting on people that are just being nasty wee liars and working for their own benefit.
But that's what we do every day here.
And we, the people that have to put up with what these people say, are being dragged down the garden path yet again.
Well, as I say, the thing about Dougie Ross, he'll be standing in Aberdeen North and Moray East, and we've already I've already interviewed the SNP candidate for there, Seamus Logan. Seamus, if you're watching, I'll be doing a wee trip to the Bank of Scotland tomorrow to sort that small problem out.
Yeah,
we'll have it sorted for you tomorrow, okay? If you're listening, Seamus. Anyway, he's up against Seamus Logan up there in Aberdeen North and Moray East. So let's hope Seamus trounces wee Dougie Ross. But it is quite funny that this guy, David Duguid, wanted to stand. The committee that Dougie Ross is on deselects him and selects Dougie Ross to stand in his place. That's interesting.
That's marking your own bloody homework, that is. Seriously.
Well, he obviously thinks he did a good job as an MP last time round. He's standing again. No, I tell you, what I think it is his wife said to look at what his MSP salary would be and went,
50.
Dougie, our lifestyle's expanded to the point where we need both these wages to cover it.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Labour councillor for Fife quits party over Starmer imposing candidates on constituencies. Now, Julie McDougall, who's a Labour councillor in Fife Council, she was looking to replace the candidate for Cowdenbeath, which is the Cowdenbeath area, who was Wilma Brown. Now, Wilma Brown had to stand down as a candidate because of racist posts she was putting out on social media. The next one, the constituency Labour Party picked was Councillor Julie McDougall, and Starmer kiboshed it, and he is parachuting in a lady called Melanie. Wait a minute, I get her name.
Yeah, you gave it to me, I think.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Let's say Melanie Ward. Melanie
Ward,
Ward.
that's right. As in the hospital ward. Yeah.
Yes, and guess where Melanie is from?
London, yeah. London?
Absolutely, London.
London, yeah.
Now that is the fourth one that we know, the fourth one that's been parachuted in here.
Right. First thing is, if she gets that seat, right, people will wait a long time to speak to their MP, right?
Yes.
And she will become part of Starmer's action squad. If you imagine them on brown shirts, right, she becomes one of the ones that you can go, oh, definitely, I can put her in a brown shirt.
What he's definitely doing is the candidates that he's parachuted in here, three of them are from down south. We'll name their constituencies in a minute.
Yeah.
And Dame. And one of them's come up for Bangor and Wales.
Yeah.
As I say, but what's interesting is SNP candidate for Easter Ross Sutherland, Keith Ness Sutherland and Ross, Dr. Leslie and Beattie, she says they can't find anybody with enough confidence in them to stand in these constituencies. And she's not talking about the Fife constituency where he could have found somebody. She's talking about Angus. She's talking about Keith Ness Sutherland and Ross. And she's talking about Orkney Shetland, and we also know that the guy who won the seat in Rutherglen West, Hamilton Rutherglen West, Hamilton South Rutherglen West, whatever the hell it was.
Shanks.
He was also.
Just think in your head, Lavy, and you go, oh, aye, Shanks.
Right, I mean, he was also put in place in front of the local candidate, selected candidate, you know.
Right.
But anyway, in Angus, they have a battered in Elizabeth Carr Ellis, and she's from Canterbury. She's a councillor in Canterbury.
Yes.
As I say, the candidate for Keith Ness, Sutherland and Ross is Eva Kastner, and she's from Lewisham. And the Labour candidate for Orkney and Shetland is a guy called Connor Savage.
Now, I really wonder if the people in all these various seats where these people are standing are aware of where they come from originally, or where they've been parachuted in from.
I don't know whether
because I think people would object to that. Yeah.
Well, that's what this councillor's name, and she resigned the Labour whip. She's objecting to it. Now, what does Julie McDougall?
Correction. She's bringing attention to it. That's what's happening. She's bringing attention to it.
Hi, Daily Blase. Welcome aboard, folks. Daily Blase channel's brilliant. But what she's saying is depriving people, local people who want to stand, who have knowledge of the local area and the needs of the local people. Because all the candidates should be local. No matter what party it is, she's saying it's depriving them of an objective representative in Westminster. Because these people don't live in Scotland.
Yeah.
The one that does live in Scotland, the one for Orkney and Shetland, he actually is now based in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's really confusing though, this Connor Savage, because in Wales he was a pro-independence candidate for Plaid Cymru, and here in Scotland he's a pro-union candidate for Labour.
Mm-hmm.
Bit confused, the guy, but obviously he sees himself as a career politician, whatever. You know, he's willing to swap party to climb the social ladder, or to climb the ladder. We've seen that happen with lots of different parties, and so a bit mental. But I mean, if I was in Angus with this Elizabeth Carr Ellis, or if I was in Caithness, Sutherland, and Ross with Ava Castner,
Huh?
both of the southeast of England, I would be saying, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely correct. Because they're not going to know what the local problems are, right? They're not going to know what people generally want in those areas, right? They might know where they came from, what the problems are, yeah, but they won't know where they're going to, what the problems are, obviously.
Well, a woman in Lewisham is not going to have a Scooby-Doo about what's going on in Caithness, Sutherland and Ross.
Correct.
This isn't a central belt, haven't they? It's that big, it's that rural, the people are scattered, they're small communities. What's somebody in Lewisham going to have in common with these people?
Yeah, correct. So,
what's the people
therefore,
of Kirkcaldy? What's the Cowdenbeath and Kirkcaldy going to have in common with a wee woman for London?
Yeah.
What's the people of Orkney Shetland going to have in common with a geezer for Bangor?
It really is ridiculous. It's silly. I do wonder at the decision making of the party leader in bringing this forward, because at the end of the day, it ain't going to work for him.
You do have to wonder why Anna Sarwar isn't saying to Starwar, get off my fucking patch.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think, no, David, I think Anasawa has already said that to Starmer. And I think Starmer has threatened with getting rid of him, as he's got rid of other Labour MPs,
and
right?
MSPs.
And MSPs.
But what's interesting about this one is I've got a theory on it. I think he's apart from this Welsh guy, I think he's sending out a couple of lieutenants to keep the Scottish Party in line.
You reckon? I think you could be right. Yeah, I think you could be right.
I think he is. I think he's sending up some lieutenants.
Yeah.
Starmerites.
Yeah.
To try and keep the party in line, like Shanks has been doing. Shanks has been overruling Sarwar every time.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one. It's not just the fact that this councillor objects so much that she's resigned the party.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that Starmer shows scant respect for the people in these areas who want local representation, who understand their problems. And see, this wee woman for London is not going to know what's going on in Cowdenbeath and Kirkcaldy. Yeah. And say the one for Lewisham certainly hasn't got a Scooby what's going on in Caithness.
Also, it's possible that independence would be on Starmer's head, and he's thinking, who can I get that's going to really, really back me up when I attack those that want independence in the future after the general election? And that could be something that's in his mind, and he needs people that are going to strongly object to independence.
Well, I don't know, but what I do know is that the way I'm looking at it is at least three of these are three of the four are being catapulted in, and I think it's to keep Scottish Labour in check. I think we're going to see Labour MPs when they get in Scotland, Paul Rank on the MSPs, and they'll definitely undermine Sarwar until he's gone. And somebody put a post up saying Shanks to replace Sarwar as the leader of Scottish Labour. Probably, but as we know, Scottish Labour doesn't exist. So I think Starmer would like to sort of bleach away the idea of an
David, there's one phrase you used there that I'm not going to pull you on, because I know the way you feel about it, right? But does an MSP outrank? Does an MP outrank an MSP? I don't think they do.
Well, in Westminster's eyes they do.
Well, yeah, but that needs correcting, because the Parliament in Edinburgh at the moment, until we have something else, is our Parliament. The people in it are actually the people we have chosen to run the country of Scotland, right? So that's something that I don't like to hear, is this thing of pulling rank.
And Neil MacDonald on Facebook says Starmer wants to close down devolved governments anyway. Probably, but that's a long-term project.
Yeah, Neil. Yeah.
We do know that.
I know it's obvious, but Neil, I'm glad you said it. All right.
I mean, we did report on the fact that Ian Murray said that he's going to just shut the Scottish Parliament's access to the international community down, and he's going to start doing things here in Scotland which should be devolved. So they're going to hollow out the Parliament, and that's the first step to shutting it down, hollowing it out.
So what happens to the decision that the people of Scotland made to open the Scottish Parliament?
Well, I mean, they're going to quietly try and convince the Scottish people over a period of time that it's just a talking shop, it's an expense and it's not worth having. And this is stage one of Labour's attempt at it. Okay. We've just watched Alistair Jack with his muscular unionism throw his weight about. Ian Murray says he's going to throw his weight about even more.
Yeah.
Noel Willie's Bucket, I didn't watch a debate night, as you know. I don't watch mainstream television. I have to pick up these clips when they're sent to me by people through social media, or I'll pick them up myself on YouTube. But right. So,
next.
Labour in turmoil. Right, well, a wee bit on business, David.
Oh, yeah, it's like, way, right.
Well, it would be if you're a businessman, and you are, because confidence in the Scottish sector is up 15% since John Swinney took the reins as First Minister. We're only talking about a month.
Yeah. But why do you think it's happened? Why do you think it's happened?
Well, he has seen it as a safe pair of hands.
Yes, that's right. John is seen as Mr. Common Sense, as we saw the other night there in the wee bit about the leaders when he did his speech to launch the SNP for the general election. Right, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Smooth as molten gold, and he's a guy you can guarantee that he's going to come out with the right thing.
Well, let's put it this way. He's known to do his due diligence before he makes any stupid mistakes.
Yes, correct.
He's no his trust, that's for sure. But he doesn't have that sort of power anyway. He only has his hands on one economic lever, so,
Yeah.
But apparently businesses trust him. And they trust and him. They trust him to keep the Scottish economy going in the right direction. Right. And we've also had Rachel Reeves trot up here to back up Starmer's lie that the GB Energy will create hundreds of new jobs or thousands of new jobs in Scotland. Now, David, as we know now, it's an investment vehicle, another investment bank. Yeah. It'll be a wee building in Aberdeen with a plaque on it. And it won't have that many employees because it's only got to administer £8 billion in funds. Now, if we look at what started to do is the Green Energy Bank in Scotland, it then became the Scottish National Investment Bank. It handles billions.
Yeah.
And guess how many employees, guess how many people it employs directly.
Go on, do you want me to give you the right number?
Aye, go on.
51.
The bank employs 51 people directly and up to 200 indirectly. That's cleaning staff, janitorial staff, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's
that's not hundreds of jobs, David.
No, it's not. And as this GB Energy won't produce energy at all, it's only an investment vehicle, then I imagine it would be much smaller. Now, if she's claiming, and she also spoke about how strong the Scottish banking sector was, But that's because they want their pause in the revenue it produces. We know what Mark Carney said it was worth, and that's going back to 2013.
Yeah.
He said it was worth north of 1.5 trillion, the banking sector in Scotland.
In actual fact, try again. It's worth more than that.
Oh, it's worth more than that now with the international banks that have moved into Glasgow.
Yeah.
But this claim of thousands of jobs. Now, I guess she's going along the lines of Starmer saying they want to produce these things here. But due to Brexit, how do you get somebody like Hitachi to come and manufacture turbines here, which they want to sell to the rest of Europe? Our market's too wee to bring in that sort of big time investment for these companies.
You've got it. The only way it works, is if Scotland becomes an independent nation, and we go back and do a connection with the. What I'm saying a connection for is because it could be done a couple of ways. Connection with the European Union, either through the way that Norway is connected, or the way that all the other nations are connected. But still in all, it would allow them to trade properly and feed the goods into Europe.
You're not coming to Scotland to build fuck all because you don't have access to Europe, which is the biggest market next door.
Correct.
So this idea that this 8 billion quid of an investment bank, because it's just an investment bank, is going to create hundreds of thousands of sustainable good jobs. It's bollocks.
You've got to understand what the attraction is, right? There has got to be a situation where, let's say that some of the banks that are moving in at the moment said, right, Scotland is going to become an independent nation, right? So what's going to happen after that? There's going to be a lot more capital coming in that they can do something with. Yeah, that's a tick in the box. There's going to be a situation where there's going to be less tax to pay, right? And it won't always be the SNP that are in charge. It could be a more centre-right outfit that takes over, right? So that's what the banks are looking at.
Let me correct your Wally's bucket on this one. If Labour wins Scotland, say bye-bye to our freebies. We don't have any freebies. We have a tax system we used to pay for these things with Wally's bucket.
Yeah.
But as I say, this Rachel Reeves coming up here to lie to the Scottish people, same way Starmer did, about this GB energy thing. It's a bloody disgrace, and it should be called out by the mainstream media, but it's no, as you know.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about it. And Hugh, the 180 must just be on YouTube because there's much more than that watching this live. At the moment, we've got 220. Right. So we also have the SNP on the business front, calling on the bank of or on the economy front. Because you've got to remember, folks, these are campaign issues that are coming up. So far, the SNP have been working on the economy, business, stability, and poverty, eradicating child poverty. Now, Swinney's want the Bank of England to drop interest rates for a couple of reasons. And one of them is because there isn't any need for it to be so high at the moment, and it would help make public finances go a wee bit further. And it would help alleviate poverty, help the Scottish government to spend more on alleviating poverty.
Yeah, David, I really, really can't get my head around people in the banking sector, if you like, who make up the board of the Bank of England, sat there and thinking, oh, what will we do? Well, all we've got is this lever at the end of the table that says put up interest rates to get the RPI or CPI as we use nowadays down the way. It ain't happening. It hasn't happened. So when are they going to realise that they've got to do something different?
A couple of things to address for this one for Thomas MacArthur. The SNP are doing free ports. Scotland's doing green ports, but they're being imposed upon us by Westminster, Thomas.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the SNP. That's a
Tory machine.
Okay, so it's nothing
just a Tory machine. Yeah.
What the SNP have done is laid down the rules for them and said, unless whatever facility you're putting in there can be powered by renewable energy, don't bother
Yeah.
coming to these investment areas.
Yeah.
Okay, right, as I say, so John wants, now what's interesting about inflation, David, is, you know, when inflation was running a savvy, both the UK government and the Bank of England said there was nothing they could do about it because it was outside forces. It was the pandemic and it was the Ukraine war and the disruption to supply chains. Okay, but these blips have worked their way through now. And now they've worked their way through, and as Sunak himself said, inflation's back to normal levels. And John's shouting at the bank, now's the time to cut interest rates. It'll help mortgage payers, and it'll help business investment. It also means that government funds will go further because their payments on debt will go down.
Yeah.
So that's Swinney's logic. Now, as I say, it's funny how as you and I know, David, the Bank of England only have one blunt instrument to deal with day-to-day inflation, and that's interest rates. But what we've seen coming through because of disruption to global supply chains, that was a different issue. The bank could have sat that one out.
Yeah.
Because outside forces took them up. Obviously, when these blips in the supply chains have worked their way through, and inflation was going to come down anyway. Came down a lot faster than most of us were expecting. I was predicting it'd still be much higher, at 8.7% at this point in time, but it's no. You know. So that was one off my prediction list that wasn't right. Sorry, that way. So far, the rest have been all right, but that one was off. And that still surprised me. The RPI is still sitting at 4.1 and food price inflation's at 9.4. You know, so it's still no great right across the board. If you mix in the inflation in different sectors, the RPI is probably correct. You know. Right, so that's the campaigning on the economy. We noticed the Tories had nothing to say in the economy, and the Lib Dems had nothing to say in the economy. Why? Well, the Tories fucked it, and the Lib Dems are irrelevant, so they didn't get a voice on it.
Yeah.
Right, now let's move on to today's papers and the 80th anniversary of the D-Day.
Yes.
D-Day landings.
That's right.
Now, apparently, they rolled out a couple of old codgers called King and Queen yesterday.
Yeah, but don't forget, and these old chaps that are doing this, they're getting fewer and fewer and fewer as they die, you know. And I watched one old guy, and I could feel he didn't really want to do the TV thing. He wasn't really that interested in it. Yeah. I just felt sorry for him. What's going to happen is as he gets older, but as he gets older, he's going to become the one that they're going to go to. So his front door is going to be, there's going to be a barrage on his life with TV companies and newspapers.
Every year now going on as it goes to the 90th anniversary. I don't want to be down on the commemoration. It was an important event in history. The reason why I'm bringing it up today is it gives them a chance, gives the mainstream media a chance to run away in the mainstream media and in the press section, the printed press, gives them a chance to run away from election chaos for a wee bit, you know.
Yeah.
So apparently Charlie and Camilla were crying at the commemorations yesterday.
My first question would be, who saw it?
Oh, pictures all over the papers, David.
Right. Was it not
Charlie
just
doing that and Camilla doing that with a wee hanky? Crocodile tears coming down their faces.
Excuse the French. Fucking bollocks. Crocodile tears.
Now, I don't know why they would be crying. Obviously, looking out at the people who served in that period of time, they'd be few and far between these days.
Yeah. I mean, the only one that they had was Monty, wasn't it? Yeah, and wasn't he killed by the IRA? I think.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
not sure.
It was a
This happened
Montgomery was
quite a
blown
few.
up with the IRA.
Yeah,
Aye.
yeah,
But he, what do you call it? Let's have a look at how old these people would be. The average age of the guy that fought in that war would have been 20 to 25, right?
yeah. Aye.
And it's 80 odd year ago since the landings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people that are coming on to 105-year-old here. They're going to dig out.
It's like we've always said. You don't celebrate the start of a war. If you want to celebrate something, you celebrate the end of a war, the
Ah, it was
incoming of peace.
Mountbatten. So was it two different
Yeah,
Montgomery and Mountbatten. It
yeah,
was Mountbatten that got blown up. Thanks in the comments for
yeah.
correctness.
Thank you.
You know, but as I say, the coverage today gives everybody a wee break for the campaign
Yeah.
and the press, and
Mm-hmm.
it's mere a patriotic bullshit, isn't it? King and
Yeah,
Queen shed tears for
yeah,
those gone
yeah.
by.
Yeah. Look,
There's
look.
so much shite on it.
Here's our banner, the flag, and all the rest of it, right? And look how we're crying for these individuals that they really don't have any thought about at all. Come on. Come on. Do you think Prince Charles is honestly that he feels anything for that wee man that was on the TV the other day there? No, he doesn't. He's
Yeah.
more interested in which blooming horse he's going to ride through the woods later on that day. You know what I mean? It's sick as me.
Right, there's a sushi going on down that road after the leadership debate down there, the presidential one, the
Mhm.
anti-democratic presidential debate that went on down that road, where Sunak
Mhm.
made a claim that Starmer was going to raise their taxes by £2,000, right? And he cited a document that the Tories had made up and claimed it was for the Treasury.
Yeah.
Of course, the lies got its boots on before the truth's anywhere near. We
Aye.
now have a population of people with a figure of 2,000 lodged in their head.
Yeah.
But even the Chief Secretary to the Treasury has penned a letter saying, nah, most of these figures are speculative. And the ones that we did, they shouldn't have bloody well used them in their documents. So it wasn't a Treasury document at all.
Yeah.
Mountbatten's taking a pounding in there. Listen, wait, apparently Mountbatten was a Charlie's special uncle. Let's leave Mountbatten. End.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shh.
So there's a bit of sushi going on down there, and Labour have called Mr. Sunak a fibber,
Yeah.
and of course, all the Tories are piling in, given that Labour's going to charge you 2,000 extra tax over the next 5 years, or 4 years, because there's no fixed term Parliament Act in that road anymore. So mental. Imagine the Tories claiming that anybody was going to raise their taxes when we've had 26 tax hikes under the Tories, most since 2019,
Yeah.
and taxes at the highest level it's been since just after the after the Second World War, where taxes now run about 76%. Absolutely nuts. So
Do you know,
anyway,
I watched a young lady the other day there trying to explain what tax meant to her. She said, I earn 25, or just short of £25,000 a year, right? And she was on about the money that she got. She gets her wage slip, and off comes the tax, and then off comes the national insurance. What's national insurance? It's just tax. It means nothing now, right? Okay, so there you go. She said, then what I've got to do is I've got to drive to work. To drive to work, I need to buy petrol to put in my car, right? So therefore, she said straight away, there is what they call hydrocarbon tax, right? Which is 68%, is it, or something like that?
and
It's
then
a
you get the
stupid
VAT on
amount.
top of that and all.
Yeah, right. And then there's VAT on everything. She said, I'm taxed upon taxed upon taxed upon taxed. If I actually go out and buy something, then you can guarantee 1991, there'll be VAT on it of
And I see the
20%.
IFS, David, have blown a hole in Labour's claims that that they won't be imposing austerity on the people.
Yeah, yeah.
The IFS has made it quite clear that actually under the Conservative administration, austerity never stopped. And unless Labour are willing to raise taxes on the richest, which they say they won't, or on us all, which they say they're not going to, then Labour's manifesto is pure fantasy as well.
Yeah, yeah. How ridiculous, how awful for these politicians to dare think of getting elected so that they can go in and pull the wool over everyone's eyes
Well, they're pulling the wool over
and,
eyes to
and
get
make it
in.
and make it impossible for them to live to live a normal life. That's ridiculous. It really is.
As I
It's
say,
so sad.
it's the fact that they're pulling the wool over people's eyes to get in.
Yeah.
Labour's telling us they're not going to raise any taxes whatsoever.
Yeah.
They're just going to close loopholes and look for efficiencies in order to raise 38.5 billion for their manifesto requirements. The Institute
I
for
would
Fiscal
like to see a
Studies.
wee straw poll here, right? And you can do it quickly. Is you all hit your keyboards at the same time. It's like, do you think that politicians are going to always tell the truth? Yes or no?
It's a silly question.
Well, that isn't a silly question. It's a question that needs asking. Yeah.
And this next one's quite interesting, David. The BBC have their next leadership debate on Friday.
Yep.
Guess who's not turning up?
Well, I think it's it's going to be Sunak and Starmer are not going to turn up. I know about that, right? But you've got the people that are replacing them, haven't you? You've got the
Aye.
list of that.
It's a real slap in the face, by the way, to the other party leaders.
Yeah.
You understand us,
Yeah.
right? But Sunak will be replaced by the sword carrier, Penny Mordaunt.
Oh yes. Yep.
The bane of the Scots. That's what she thinks. Fucking ignore her, actually. And Angela Rayner will stand in for Starmer on Friday.
Yeah.
When the other party leaders have been invited to join the fray.
So what does that say? What does that say to the people of these islands about the leaders? Does it say that that they're not taking any notice of
No,
what
what it says, David, is it's a
the
two-party.
people?
What it says is this is a two-party state.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely no regard whatsoever given to Ed Davey, Stephen Flynn, asshole Farage, or even George Galloway if he gets on.
Yeah.
Absolutely no regard. But I think actually the reason why they're not showing up is because they're probably frightened of facing George Galloway and Stephen Flynn. But you know what?
I don't like George Galloway, but I know for a fact he would take them apart like a wee insect, the wings off and all the rest of it, right? Certainly Sunak would be in for it. And Starmer, my goodness me, George Galloway would just have a way with him. That's
It
that,
also shows a blatant disrespect for the people of these islands. You know, they basically turned around and said, "You're wasting your time voting for anybody else, so we're not going to show up."
So basically, our opinion of the democracy in these islands is it's absolutely ridiculous, and quite frankly, we're being told a pack of lies in terms of whether it's democratic or not. It's definitely not democratic.
That one's quite interesting.
Which one was
The
that?
point of view, it says the political bias of the Tories and the Red Tories has the arrogance to think they own us.
Yeah.
You know, but it
That's
does
what it's
show
come to,
total
isn't
lack of respect for democracy. It shows a total
Aye.
lack of respect for the smaller parties. And it does give that arrogance of, you're irrelevant. We'll send you along a secondary just because we can, or just because we have to. But what's interesting there is, I actually think, I say Flair, I actually think that the SNP should put up a Mary Black in that case, because she'd rip the two of them, you arsehole.
Yeah.
I mean, like Black taking on Angela Rayner and Andy, especially Penny Morgan.
Right. We need to move on.
We do. Nigel Farage is back.
Yep.
He announced his candidacy.
Who thought that was a given? Who thought that was a given?
Me. Nigel wants to stay in the public eye. The BBC have helped him down through the years stay in the public eye.
Yes.
And now he wants a slot in the TV debates.
Yeah.
And with Reform closing to 2 points behind Labour and Tory, the blue Tories in the polls, it's quite interesting.
Do I know something? You know what they should, before all these programmes, right? There should be a guy on there going, ever been had?
Disclaimer before we start. The information you're about to receive tonight is shite, and terrible shite.
I love it.
Anyway,
that's great.
Farage shows up in Clacton, Sea, or whatever the hell it's called, announces his candidacy, announces he's taking over Reform UK, and he wants a slot on the telly. I can imagine George Galloway will eat him for breakfast.
Yeah, he also got the milkshake over his suit.
Right, we better move on.
A wee lassie threw a milkshake over him. That's,
Listen, everybody should throw a bloody milkshake over him.
Yeah.
Or call him Snowflake or something like that every time he shows up. No disrespect to Reagan Elite if he's there.
No, there's a picture of him pointing to the queues of vehicles going towards the port of Dover, right? And the little bubble saying, I did that.
Right, we better get to the new daftest election candidate of the week.
Yes,
very close.
The daftest election candidate goes to
Sir Ed Davey.
That's the one.
It was close, David. We'll get to the other candidate in a minute, but this week it's Sir Ed Davey.
Tell us why Ed Davey was chosen as the top one.
As the leader of a political party, a mainstream political party, he should know better than to get caught fucking speeding. Ed Davey done for speeding. Well done, Sir Ed. Upholding the law of the land.
Oh, dear.
What a stunningly fine example of a citizen.
By the way, this is Madam Director's assistant here.
Aye.
She's struggling that much to get a cup of coffee that she's brave coming past the TV camera.
Well, you all sell in your office in the kitchen, you bum. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the other option we had for this one. And that was a guy called Sam Truss, Tory candidate who's had to stand down because of posting sexually explicit messages to ladies working out on a fitness site. How pissed can you have to be?
Yeah, can you just think that
on a fitness site?
Can you just think that one through? How drunk have you got to be before you think it's you're a politician, right? And you're getting so many £1,000 a year for being a politician, and you think it's a good idea to pop up all these sexually explicit images.
Thomas says that was a fix. He knows the people involved. It didn't matter if he knows them. He's running for public office. You're not getting pissed and jumping onto a fitness site and telling a lassie how tight her bookie is. You're just not doing it. That's lunacy. Absolute lunacy. I mean, he just get picked with Ed Davey because Ed Davey's a knight of the bloody realm.
Yeah.
Who should be an upstanding citizen. He's also the head of one of the mainstream parties. And there he is, tooting along the road, breaking the bloody law.
Yeah.
As if it didn't apply to him. Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about the law nowadays. Is that a lot of
I need to get this one in. Fitness class photos were only tractors. We get tractor porn and some idiot asking, telling young ladies their bahookies look fine on a fitness site when he's passed. So it was a tight one this week. No doubt we'll find some other bloody numpty to fill the slot next week, David.
Yeah. Yes. Right, that's it. That's all we've got time for. And we really must stick to our time. It's now
Aye.
17:01, and it's wrong to keep
So
our
we'll skip Israel,
administrators.
Gaza, and we'll skip the Ukraine. I have got a quick spiel on it, but we'll skip it until next time.
We'll skip it until next time. Okay. All right.
Where we'll try and
So anyway,
news in.
I've got a queue coming into the kitchen. Dear, oh dear. Right. So
I am thinking about upping the content, folks. I'm thinking about probably starting on Monday. I might do a newspaper review at 11 o'clock in the morning because some of the headlines we get here in Scotland are absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, David's getting physio on his health to carry on with, you know.
Yeah.
But
I will come.
Daily.
I will come through this, guys. It's not something that's going to end up with me dead. It's like I'm doing something that it's nasty, but I've got to just get through it, right?
You'll all get through it.
Yeah.
Right,
so, anyway.
Folks, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, please share across your social media if you like what we do. All right. I don't know much better to say that, except for thanks very much for showing up in large numbers again, up there 200 watching live again.
It's wonderful that you show up in numbers like that. It really is. And we're humbled by that.
And Gene, Gene fancies a newspaper review because I used to do one the weekly roundup when I was in the truck, David.
Yeah.
I always get good rant of the fucking headlines.
Right, David. I'll say bye-bye. Okay.
That's 2 minutes after 5. I'll say bye-bye and all. Bye, Davey.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys.